How's everyone doing today? Dan with Walnut Ridge. I'm here with Greg. We're doing a whole new orientation series. I bought my camper here at Walnut Ridge a couple of years ago. I know the orientations can seem a little bit overwhelming day of. You're trying to process all this information. I actually look like a big old dork, strapped a GoPro onto my head and videoed the entire thing, which was great. But I thought, you know what, if we do this, then that's gonna give you guys something you can go back and look at anytime you want. We're gonna do each brand unit. We're gonna start with the Passport. Greg here is the PDI manager, supervisor. So he's over all of the guys that actually do your orientation. So he should be the man to know it all, I hope. Yeah. So what I would like, Greg, if you don't mind, take me for a walk around this Passport just like you would do if I'm a new customer here picking up that day. Okay. If I've got some questions, or maybe even share with you guys some of the things that I missed initially, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about that. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, take it away.
All right, we usually start our orientation here in the front at your LP station. So when you buy a new camper, you're gonna have two either 20 or 30 pound LP tanks. Both of them will be full at the time you pick up. So with your LP tanks, you're gonna have the regulators always in the middle. And it might not look exactly like this, but it's all going to function the exact same way. You're going to have a lever that you can flip to one side or the other. The way I run my LP tanks is I usually leave one of them on and then shut one of them off, and then I'll flip that lever over to the side that I opened. So now it's going to draw off this side first. Once this side's empty, you have a little indicator up here in the front that'll go clear or red depending on the model, and once that's empty, you can go ahead, open the next one, and flip your lever over to the next LP tank. If you want to, you can leave them both on, and then when one's empty, it'll automatically start pulling from the next tank. That way, if you're running your fridge off LP, going down the road or something, it won't die on you. You won't run out of gas, and your fridge won't shut off. So you can run it one of two ways. You can do it, leave them both open, or just leave one of them off. That way you always have one full tank.
Right.
And
there's some great aftermarket products that'll let you know how full your tanks are without having to take your housing off.
Yeah, we sell one in the store that it goes on the bottom of the tank, and it Bluetooths to your phone, I believe, and it'll tell you the levels of your tanks. We've had some pretty good reviews on those. So that's really about the only way to know how much is in an LP tank. There's no knocking on it and telling how much is in there. That's just doesn't work. Yeah. So behind that, on every unit, you'll have a 12-volt deep cycle marine battery. This is going to be what's going to supply your lights, your water pump, and different things like that when you're not plugged in or if you're going down the road. That'll do your breakaway cable too. So if you're hooking up to your truck and you want to use your power jack and you're not plugged in, that'll run your jack up and down. Always want to have a working 12-volt battery on your coach when anytime you're using it.
I actually had last summer, for some reason, I must have missed disconnecting over the winter, so I weakened the battery, and we got out to a spot. I completely disconnected from the truck. This was almost dead. I had to reconnect to the truck to use the truck as the power. But you're 100% right. Always make sure that your battery is charged. Very important.
Anytime you're plugged into your truck, it's going to charge that battery, or if you're plugged in to 30 amp, it's going to charge your battery. So that's one way to always keep your battery charged. Back through here, of course, you have your fresh and city water connections. So your fresh tank over here is one you'll fill up that tank if you're going boondocking or just want to have some water while you're traveling. You can fill that tank up, turn your water pump on the inside, and then you'll have some water like that. Your city water is when you get to your site, you can hook up, you'll have unlimited water, turn it on and go. You have unlimited water from there.
So this you're going to run at like state parks where they don't have water supplies, or like you said, if you're going boondocking. But this at 99.9% of campgrounds you're going to hook up, so you have consistent water power, water and power the whole time you're there. Okay.
That's what those two are for. This coach has a sewer flush. It's very nice. You have your tanks are underneath, which if you look right here, you got black and gray. Your black is obviously your toilet. And up here, the sewer flush is for the toilet. So after you're done dumping it, You can hook up a hose in here, turn it on, and that's going to shoot water inside your tank and help clean it out. It's going to help keep those probes clean from the inside, so your monitor panel reads properly too.
Not gonna lie, when you first said when you're done dumping, I thought you were going to talk about actually dumping in the toilet and then cleaning it.
No. After you're done camping for the day, or at the weekend.
Outdoor shower?
That one does have an outside shower.
Those are great. I know we have one of those on our Puma, and I found the best thing for that is washing the dogs off or getting off sand off your feet. Yeah, so you don't take it all into the camper with you.
So here is your power cable. This is a 30 amp coach. This is attached to the unit, so you can't forget it or leave it at the campsite, and it just rolls up when you're done. Keeps stored in there.
Talking about power real quick, something I see a lot of conversation about. This is a 30 amp coach. A lot of campgrounds have 30 and 50. Can't stress enough the importance of a surge protector. Like, that's a whole other conversation, I know.
Yeah, it is.
But a lot of people will say, hey, can I use a 50 amp adapter to 30 amp and run off of 50 amp?
You can. It's still going to limit, your converter limits your power intake. So if you're hooked up to 50, you're still only going to get 30, regardless, or vice versa. If you have a 50 amp coach and you hook into 30, you're only going to have 30 amps. So that's where you can't run like your fireplace and your microwave or your second air conditioning, all that kind of stuff. Exactly. If on 30 amp, you can't run both microwave, AC at the same time.
Got it. Let's go around the other side. We got a bit of a tight squeeze here. It's nice doing this indoors though.
It is.
I mean, we're out of the weather.
Yeah, this is a nice big pass-through storage. You got 2 lights in there on each side. Usually your cranks, when you purchase a unit, if you have manual stab jacks, will be in this storage compartment right up here in the front. That's usually where we'll keep them.
So let's talk about that for just a second. So you call those manual stab jacks? Okay, so manual stabilizer jacks, right?
Jacks, yeah.
You don't use that fancy terminology on me.
Slang, yeah.
So you're either going to come equipped with electric jacks or you're going to have manual jacks.
Correct.
And all that is essentially hooking on there and actually cranking this thing up and down. Now, something I've actually seen a few times at the campground that I don't think maybe gets stressed enough. There was a guy that was across from us. He actually had his unit service here where he had flattened that, and I think it was because he cranked it down too much and almost treated it as a leveler. Yeah, so definitely these. Well, what's the recommended on that? Do you just turn them down where you feel pressure?
Till you feel pressure. You don't want to ever use them as levelers. That is a big problem people use. So you kind of you want to level your unit out first, whether you have to drive up on blocks to get side to side level, and then use your tongue jack for front to back. And then once you're level, you want to go ahead and lower your stab jacks until they snug up against the ground.
Just snug.
Yeah, just snug.
Okay.
That's pretty much it with those.
Okay.
This one's got an electric awning on it. This is a pneumatic awning. So this one, of course, runs from a button on the inside to in or out. I'll show you how it works when we get in there. But something I want to show on the top of this unit. If you look on the very top there of that head, it's got that little rubber grommet. And if this awning ever got stuck out and you needed to get it back in, you can get a drill, or if you want to do it by hand, you could pop that little rubber grommet off, and there's a 3/8 drive socket that you can run on your drill, and you'll be able to manually run that awning.
So that lets you get it in and out in the event your button stops working or something like that.
It lost power, surge, or anything like that.
Okay.
This unit's got outside speakers. We'll show it with the radio. You got 110 outlet out here. Your refrigerator vent. This is something that's important. You always want to make sure that you can get good airflow through these. So don't ever put anything up here that's blocking this, and that can block the airflow. Mud daubers are real bad about wanting to get in here and build nests, and they don't manufacture screens for these because of the airflow reasons. So that's something you always want to take off and check. These just come off. Just get you a coin and spin these. Pull this out, and then this is the back of the refrigerator. There's nothing in here you'll really ever need to do. But it doesn't hurt to clean it out every 6 months, at least once a year, and just check in there, make sure nothing's building nests and everything like that.
And speaking of that, they do sell covers for this is for your furnace, correct?
Correct.
So they do sell covers for
They
those
do.
to keep the mud daubers out, right?
Correct, yeah. And those are important because mud daubers get in there and they get back in there, and if they get in the squirrel cage, they back it up, they burn, they smell terrible. So that and a pressure regulator are the two biggest things that I recommend that people get right off the bat.
So pressure regulator, when we were talking not fresh water, but city hookup over there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking pressure regulator for the water. That way you're not putting too much pressure onto the pipes within your unit,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Because you don't know how much a campground, you could have one campground that's running at 30 PSI and another one that's running at 80.
You're right.
So you want to be somewhere in the middle
it
there.
constantly keeps it at a 40 to 45 PSI. Most regulators that we sell do. So that gives you you can overflow, but it keeps it at a constant flow too. So it's a nice steady flow. You're not getting one sink is shooting out real fast and the other one's not. So we're going to put this back on. Anytime you go ahead and take this off, make sure you stick this condensation drip hose back through one of the holes. If you ever see this dripping water, it's okay. It's supposed to do that. If your fridge on the inside builds up with condensation, it's going to drip out of here and outside. So you want to keep it out so it doesn't drip inside the unit.
Okay.
Then you have your water heater. Water heater, this is an Atwood 6 gallon, is the most common water heater size on these, but they make 8s and 10s. This is an electric and gas model, but depending when you buy the unit, if it's summertime, the unit will be full and ready to camp. If it's winter, the whole unit's going to be winterized, so you should have a drain plug inside the unit. We keep them in bags, and there's dewinterization instructions in there too, so it'll show you how to dewinterize. It'll show you how to put your drain plug into the hole, what size socket to use, which this one specifically is 15/16, and it'll show you how to fill up the water heater. So it runs on electric and gas. If you're plugged in at a campsite, I recommend running them on electric. There's no point in burning up your LP if you don't have to, but you can run them both at the same time. So if you were running on electric and then you were going to go take a shower, you want a little bit faster recovery rate, you can flip it on gas. So when the electric bleeds down, the gas will kick on and help it recover a little bit faster.
Okay, I didn't
Not
know
much,
that. That's interesting.
It does help. Or if you get somewhere and you want it to heat up quick, you can flip the gas on. Once it's hot, shut it off, let the electric maintain the heat. So you can always run them both if you had to.
So does this one have the, I know on my unit, I actually have an on and off switch out here does this have an on and off switch?
No, this is Atwood. They don't use that. Suburban, which is the other manufacturer, they use the long metal anode rod style drain plug. Those could have a switch on the outside of them also. So sometimes you'll have an electric switch. It's right here on your Suburban model. You always want to make sure that one's on if you're trying to run electric, and there might be one on the inside too. Sometimes it's vice versa. It depends on the unit.
So on this particular unit, aside from the winterizing and dewinterizing, you really don't have to get into this at all.
No, once it's full, you don't have to get back in there again.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Maintenance free.
Yep.
Okay.
In the back here, just another big open storage, a lot of room in there. Specifically, they have one of the Aussie grills that come with this model. This one on the back, you're not being able to see, but there is a bracket back there you can hook the grill to, and then underneath there's a gas line. So you do have a gas grill that's supplied with this
nice.
Passport model.
Very cool. All right, so we check out the inside?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. This one's got solid steps on it. A lot of these units are coming with solid steps nowadays. You'll either have one that turns or you have a lock that you pull out here. Make sure your door is all the way open.
I cannot say enough good things about the solid steps. We upgraded to the more rides, and it was probably the single greatest thing that we ever did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're so much better, especially for pets. If you have pets to get in and out of the camper, we've got some aging corgis as well as an aging dad, so they're a lot nicer.
Yeah, and you don't have the holes
Yes.
Their nails get
Yes.
caught in the holes. But yeah, these are a lot more solid. Yeah, it makes it nice on people that are inside the unit. If you're walking in, it's not bouncing the whole unit around.
Right.
Too. We'll start right here at the monitor panel on this unit. This is the light switch for the outside lights. So here, when I was talking about the water heater outside, you have your gas and electric switch. So this is where you decide whichever one you want. If you want it on electric, you flip the electric on, let it run about 30 to 45 minutes, and it'll be hot. Gas takes about 15 minutes, so that's why I say if you want to flip the gas on and get it hot, you can do it that way. Up here you'll have different tank levels. So you have black 1, which is your toilet, always. Black 2, this specific unit doesn't use black 2, they just use the same panel for all the passports. So forget gray 2 or black 2, and then gray 1 is your bathroom sink shower. Gray 2 is always your kitchen sink.
Okay.
Just read those levels periodically while you're camping. You don't typically want to let them get full, especially the black. So if you can dump it at 2/3, it's the best to do that then. Down here you have your water pump, so if you are dry camping or you want some water while you're traveling, and you have water in your tank, you can flip your water pump on and proceed like that. Have your awning extender retract. You can run that all the way out. That's all the way out with this model. And this awning specifically has the bars, you can pull them down on each side. I don't know if I'm going to show you.
Yeah, let's go take a look.
And show this is what I normally show you. So say if it's a light rain, you can drop these bars down, pull them down, and they'll stick in place. And now the water will run off to one side or the other. The nice thing with these is you could also do this side over here. So if the sun was setting and you guys were sitting down here, pull both sides down and that'll angle it down. And if it started to rain, you don't have to come out here and push these up before you run it in. You can just go ahead and pull in, bring it in.
Oh, that's nice.
You don't have to actually do that again.
Now, is there any maintenance involved on the awning aside from keeping the actual awning itself clean? Is there any maintenance that needs to be done on that?
No, you could spray some dry lube in these every once in a while to keep the just keep it easy to go up and down. But there's really no maintenance.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Just like I said, I'll keep those down and then I'll go ahead and run them in. So it comes in, it's all the way in, that's all you have to do. You don't have to strap it or anything else. And then you have your slide room button. Go ahead and run the slide out. Always make sure you're clear of anything. Don't hit anything. Watch out for trees or other campers. We'll go with let's go with the converter since you're standing right there next to it. I'll stand on this side. So your breaker box in here, you have your 110 side. So this is your main, which will kill everything. Your air conditioner, GFI, which is the outlets that are near water. Your microwave, your converter, which is what's converting your 110 to 12 volt power, and then your hot water heater. So if something ever stops working, your AC kicks, you might check here first. If it's not here and this breaker is okay, you might check the pole where you're plugged into. You also have a set of 12 volt fuses on this side. So you have, most of them are 15 amp fuses nowadays, and they're all usually labeled interior zones, which are usually lights throughout the coach, kitchen slide, awning. So if something's ever not working, you always want to check here first. It's the main place. It could just be as simple as a fuse. Let's see if I can, these have a light. Let's see if I try to. Trying to run the awning out. It's not working.
Oh, so they give you a light if they fault out.
Yeah, but see, the problem is people with these, they look, well, there's no lights. Because I always tell people, well, it's only going to light up if it's trying to get power from it. So if you're trying to run your awning out, make sure you're holding the button, then look down there and you'll know if your fuse is blowing. Another big thing, you have two 40 amp fuses. Not all these aren't always visible, but these are the converter fuses themselves. So if you ever came inside the coach and you had microwave, you had your TV, but you didn't have any lights, you always want to check these fuses first. It's common for them to blow, and that's one of the biggest signs. You'll have your 110 power, but you won't have any 12 volt, and it can be simple as just replacing one of those two fuses.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes it nice and easy too, because I mean, swapping out a fuse is super simple and it fixes the problem like that.
Exactly. We get a lot of calls about that. I mean, all the time. That's just a very common thing, but a lot of them aren't always right here. And you can see it from the outside too if one fuse is blown.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so you got a Dometic standard gas and electric fridge. You have your on and off button, and then you have an auto or gas button on this model. You always want to kind of keep it in auto at all times. When it's in auto mode, it'll always try to find electric first. So if it's plugged in, it's going to run off the electric. If I went out and unplugged it right now, it would automatically switch over to gas, providing that the gas is on and full. So if you're camping, you're going away for a while, you're going out to swim or do something, somebody walked by and knocked your power cord out, it would switch to gas automatically. That way your food didn't get spoiled. The gas only button, it's usually not used very often. The only time I ever really recommend using it was if you were somewhere and you were hooked up to maybe just 15 amp, which is just regular 3-prong outlet at your house or something. You can put this on gas to free up the amperage to run something else. So you can run if your AC, which is 15 amps, or something else, microwave if you had to. Let's see.
What happens, because I actually had it happen, what happens when you think everything's okay, you come in and you've got the check light on? What's the most common reasons your check light would be on?
The check light comes on this specific model if it tried to light on gas and it didn't. Problem with that, and they haven't revised it yet, but I'm sure they will. So if it's running on electric like it is now and it went to switch to gas, I unplugged it, but the tank wasn't on, it's going to throw a check code. And if it did get fixed, say the power restored, it's still going to say check. It doesn't shut off. If once it goes into check, it'll always stay in check until you come up and turn it on and off again.
Now that makes sense, because what I had, we were hooked up at power at the house. We were getting our stuff cold before we left for our trip. We left for the trip. We got there. We hooked back to power. The check light was on. And it turned out I didn't turn the propane tanks on, so it wasn't running the refrigerator while we were gone.
Right. Yeah. So that's the only. You might have. There's other reasons the check light can come on, but more of those are the ones you could probably diagnose yourself. Just
got it.
Easy stuff to check out. Go ahead and shut it back off. These new Furrion stoves they're putting in, a lot of these new units are very nice. Got a big button over here for the blue LED lights. Glass stove top on them, so for some extra storage space. These have a just turn and it'll light. So we don't have LP on this unit since it's in the showroom, but that's how they work. You just turn them, and then this is your igniter. The oven still lights. You want to turn it up here, your knob, push and hold the knob in, and then instead of having to get a lighter out, you can hit the knob a few times. You can see it sparking back there, and your oven will light. So they've redone that on these.
Yeah, that's nice. Mine, I have to reach back and manually light it, which isn't horrible, but these little features make it easier.
It does.
You know
it makes
what I mean?
it a lot nice. This is the first. They've been using the old stoves for years, and up until this last year is when they really came out with auto lighting ovens. Your microwave is standard. Microwave will be just like at home, no different really. Just got to be careful and mindful of your power that you're hooked up to. So if this is a 30 amp coach, you really can't run your AC and microwave at the same time. So if you're camping, you want to kick the AC off, cook your food, and then you can turn the AC back on. It's got the light fan over the stove, got a vent exhaust outside. Nice stainless sink. This one's got the grab, pull out shower handle on it. couple USB outlets back here now to charge your devices. They got them there, there. There's also 4 more down here, each with outlets adjacent to them. So there's a lot of USB plugs in this
That's
unit.
so nice nowadays because, you know, instead of having to use the adapters and the regular plugs and take up space, you just have USB. And everything's USB driven now. I mean,
everything is. And everybody's got multiple things that are. This is the, let's see, this is the pull-out couch with some storage underneath it, but it also will break down to a bed just by doing it, lifting it up like that.
So you got extra storage and a bed.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's nice. Those back here. This table breaks down to a bed also. You just lift it off the 2 legs and put the legs underneath the other storage spots you got under here, and then you just set it on these shelves right there, and then you can take your cushions and make the rest of the mattress out of it. These new dimmer switches they're putting in them are pretty nice. They kind of, you tap to turn it on, and then you kind of hold, you know, dim the lights. That's a new feature they're putting in them.
I love that because you may not always necessarily want that light blaring, especially at night, but you want a little extra light. That's such a nice feature they've added in these.
Yeah, they've went a long way these last few years. The radio, these power button was. These are pretty simple. They're AM, FM, CD, and DVD players also. The only thing you really need to know is you got Zone A and Zone B on this model. Zone B is the outside speakers, so you want to shut those off at night if you're in a campground.
When you're watching a movie.
Yep. And Zone A is inside. You can have them both on at once, or one or the other, whatever you want. If you want to play a DVD, just put one in. Use your remote, which is back in the drawer. Turn your TV on to probably HDMI 1 or AV, and play it like you would at home. There's really no difference there. Let's see what else. We'll shut that off. TV's off.
No, she can't.
Usually they have a DVD in here. With the TVs, see if I can do it from back here. So the TVs, you have an antenna that's stationed to the roof. They're not crank up antennas anymore. They're just kind of omnidirectionals. They just sit up there. There's no movement you can do to the TV from the inside, or to the antenna from the inside. So every time you get to a new spot you're camping in, if you want to try to pick up some channels, you want to turn on your TV, go to menu, and then scroll over to channel, and then go down to air. I don't think I'll be able to do it. It's hard to see what the buttons say. Go down to air, make sure you're on air, and then go down to auto scan, click the right button, and it'll say okay. And then it'll go through and scan everything around you, depending on where you're at. The antennas usually get 35 to 40 mile range, so I mean, I know out in our campground we can pick up most of the Indianapolis stations, channel 8 and 6 and all those. So they get a decent range, but some places you go, you're not going to be able to get much.
Right. That's why it's always nice to take some DVDs with you when you're camping, just in case. Now, I didn't pay attention, and this model may not. Does this one have the cable hookup on the outside?
I didn't see it, but I think it does in the back in that drawer we couldn't get open.
Where we couldn't get open. So this one, a lot of them do have your little cable feature. So what we did is we just bought a 50-foot coaxial cable, toss it in, and if we go to a campground that offers cable, we hook it up, we're good to go, change it over to cable on here, else we're watching DVDs or regular TV.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see, the thermostats on these, let you get behind me here. These do your furnace, AC, and fan. So you got, shut it back off here. You got your mode button, which will let you choose. Auto is fan. Then down here to cool, turn it down. Okay, so right now we're in air conditioning mode here, which kind of get it to light up. So you have cool, furnace, off, and then the first time you click it on, this is your fan mode. So you can click it to high, low, or auto. Now anytime you're running the air conditioner, you want to make sure it's in auto or high. Sometimes people want to flip them on to low, and what ends up happening is if it's hot enough out and it's on low, the AC isn't cycling fast enough, and they can end up freezing up. So you always want to keep it on high so it's moving as fast as it can through the
that makes sense.
Circular.
So the only time you really want to use low fan is if you're not running the AC. You just want some air circulating,
right.
but you also don't want it full blast.
Exactly. So
okay.
you can put it on just low, and that'll just run the fan. The compressor won't kick on. It'll just be either noise or just it moves a decent amount of air. Another thing too is when you're in the furnace mode, you want to make sure that you have it on auto, because if not, it's going to run the ceiling fan too.
Oh, okay.
Fan. So furnace is running now. We're trying to run. I mean, if you want it like that, you could run just to have that as some moving air or some noise, and you can have the furnace running too. But typically you'll want to have it in the auto position. Let's see, where else we got? We've got the bathroom in here. I'll stand back and do it. Now inside this bathroom you have your GFI outlet over here. So any of the outlets that are within 6 feet of water are tied to that GFI outlet. So if your outside outlets or the ones by the kitchen aren't working, you can make sure you want to come in here and test. It'll be a red light on here if it's tripped, and then just push the reset button in, just like a house. All houses up to date now have this same system. So other than that, you have your Dometic 310 toilet. It's got foot pedal flush. So with these foot pedals, to fill it up with water, you just barely put your foot on it, let it fill up, use the bathroom, and then all the way down will flush it. Showers, this is something you want to make sure before you travel. Put this on your checkoff list that you latch these 2 shower doors, because you don't want this glass banging up against the wall. Other than that, it's a nice big tall stand-up shower with a removable head. So you can. These have all the heads, every shower and every unit have a head that you could stop the water flow. So you're only working with a 6-gallon water heater, so you kind of want to be fast in the shower. So if you want to shut the water flow off without messing up your temperature settings, you can just shut it off while you lather up, do your hair, and then turn it back on whenever you're ready to rinse. That way you're not wasting all your water.
Military shower.
Yep. All right, this one, a lot of these new units are equipped with, this is if you go on Furion's website, this show you to go to furion.com/access. You can order a router for your unit. So if you go to a campground that offers Wi-Fi, this router will help you get it's a Wi-Fi extender. Or if you have a 4G plan with Verizon or AT&T or somewhere like that, it'll help getting faster internet inside the coach. So
that's a new thing, isn't it? That they started doing.
New. Yeah, that's just only a few months old. This is just a housing, and it's wired up for it. You have to go and actually buy the router. When you do buy it, it'll just slide in there and click in just like this thing does. But if you go to that website, it'll give you more information about it. Back here in the bedroom, that's pretty much it. You got carbon monoxide detector on the wall here. This is just a standard 9-volt battery. You want to check this at least once a month while you're camping to make sure it's good. Just hold the button, it'll beep. You got outlets and 2 USBs on each side of this unit. It's gonna do it again. Emergency exit windows, very important that you know how to use these in case you ever can't get out the door. You can pull up, push this lever out, push the screen. It's on a hinge, so it ain't going nowhere, and jump out the window. So, or if you want, it's got a little notch here. You don't have to just use it as emergency. You can leave it open, get some air flowing through. Okay. Other than that, mostly we got a lot of storage in here. The underbed's got a lot of storage. Quite a bit underneath this one. His and her closet, and then you got some above space here too. Up here you have, if you wanted to, you can mount a TV in this room. You have a stud right about here that you can mount your TV mount, and then you could hook up to either your coax antenna or cable, and watch TV back here. See, that's about it. The Let's see, the lights in here are push button only on this particular model, so you just got to push the button. You got one under here also.
Greg, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
So that was a detailed, probably a little bit boring at times, but important walkthrough video of a Passport. So, you know, that's one of those things, again, that there's many things in there that you want to know about. You're gonna forget. I still forget, you know, or run into something I haven't run into before. If you have a question or a comment or a concern, leave a comment down below, as well as reach out via email to us, and we'd be happy to answer it. And stay tuned for more walkthrough videos.